Today I'm going to explain to you why you're not bullish enough on Nico Collins. Now, I already know what you're going to say. Tank Dell is the number one receiver on the offense, not Nico Collins. Nico Collins is not good enough to be the wide receiver one. But I don't think that's true. The first reason why you might be too low or not bullish enough on Nico Collins is that he's probably going to be their X receiver. And don't just take my word for it. The wide receiver guru himself, Matt Harmon, said this in a recent mailbag.
You got Nico Collins at X receiver, and like I mentioned, his route tree as an X receiver is very different than like the George Pickens route tree. He's run a lot of those like dig routes, big in breaking routes. That guy's never leaving the field. To me, like, just to be straight, of all these three players, the best film last year was Nico Collins, including Stephon.
That to me was what caught my ear. He had the best film amongst all the receivers. Tank Dell, Diggs, and Nico. Nico had the best film. Nico is the wide receiver one.
Like, I think he's the best Texans receiver right now.
Now, if you want to see the rest, I'm going to link it down below in the description so you can check it out. The next reason why Nico Collins is a little underrated and you might be not bullish enough on him is he did just produce last year. I mean, the guy finished as the wide receiver 8 in points per game. Nico Collins just produced at an insanely high level. I know Nico Collins didn't do much his first 2 seasons, but as soon as he got a quarterback, he excelled and he had a great season. And yet people are still kind of, oh, well, maybe Tank Dell is the wide receiver one. No, I think they're getting a little bit too cute. To me, it seems clear that Nico was the better receiver. And then you can also look at the ESPN receiver tracking metrics, which I think are very interesting data point to look at. You can see these are the best wide receiver seasons of all time, or not of all time, but since 2017, since the tracking data was introduced. You have Antonio Brown number 1, Michael Thomas here, Ayuk, AJ Brown. So Ayuk and AJ Brown were just absolute studs last season. You keep on scrolling down a little bit, and you've got Nico Collins in 2023, sandwiched in between Cooper Kupp in 21, Justin Jefferson in 22, Michael Thomas 2017, right here in overall score. And you see all the names that he's surrounded by. Yes, you have your Jacoby Myers here, and you have your Tyler Lockett and Kendrick Bourne right here, but he's in some elite company with the season that he had last season. And so if you pretty much just include all players that are kind of within the range of where Nico is, all these guys went on the following season, outside of the guys from 23, went on to have a top season in the following year. So for the most part, I mean, you do have some of these like Jacoby Myers and we have these Tyler Lockett's and Bournes that will sneak in occasionally. But outside of those guys, it's all elite receivers. And so we have Matt Harmon saying that Nico Collins is an elite receiver. We got the production from last year where he was scoring at a very, very high clip. And then we've got the tracking data that's suggesting that he's like also had one of the better receiving seasons we've ever seen since 2017. And so the arrows are all pointing towards Nico Collins being a stud receiver. And we should also keep in mind that the guys that did kind of pop up, like the Jacoby Myers and the outlier-ish guys, they didn't actually score highly from a fantasy points perspective. All these other guys were like top 5, top 12 options in the season where they had these monster receiver tracking metrics, except for the outlier ones. And Nico Collins doesn't fall into the camp of the outlier ones. He falls into the camp of the elite receivers, simply because he did score and he did produce up to the level that the tracking metrics say that he can play at. So we got the film take, we've got just like the pure points per game take, and we've got the receiver tracking metrics take, that they all kind of point to Nico Collins being a stud wide receiver one. And I know people are scared of Diggs. I know people are scared of Tank Dell, but I'm just extremely bullish on Nico Collins. Maybe you look back at this and this is wrong. There is a little bit of pause when you look at his open score. It was a little bit lower than some of these other elite receivers, and so that's a little bit of a red flag. Gives me a little bit of pause. But just you look at the overall score again, and he's like in this insane elite company, and so to me, it seems like a no-brainer. He's with CJ Stroud. He's locked in wide receiver one, and it's go time, essentially. So that is why, these are the reasons why you're probably not bullish enough on Nico Collins. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content.